Hello everyone, I'm back reviewing movies, and today I'm starting a brand new series of reviewing every Star Wars movie, starting with The Phantom Menace today, leading all the way up to The Last Jedi in December. Now I'm a huge fan of the Star Wars franchise. I grew up watching both the prequels and the original trilogy, and I have some great memories watching this movie as a kid. Rewatching this movie was really difficult. This film is so boring and unfunny. This entire film is about political conflicts caused by the Tax Federation, and it just happens to have a couple Jedi in it. There are so many scenes in this movie where it's just two characters talking. Now, I don't have a problem with dialogue-based movies. Pulp Fiction is pretty much completely dialogue, yet I love that movie. It's one of my favorite films. But that film had a plot. No one cares about the plot of this movie. It's so boring and bland. To make things worse, there's not a single character in this movie that you can really latch on to. You might be able to relate to Qui-Gon Jinn, but not even Liam Neeson can make this dialogue work. The young actor they got to play Anakin in this film is just bad. The poor direction and dialogue only made things worse for the poor kid. One thing most Star Wars fans can agree on is Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. However, in this movie, he's actually really unlikable. The worst part about his character in this movie is he doesn't even want to train Anakin. The only reason why he ends up doing it is because Qui-Gon wants him to. Then there is Jar Jar Binks, possibly the worst thing to ever be put on the silver screen. He has no place in this film whatsoever. He is irritating, he's not funny at all, and he really doesn't add anything to the plot. Now, it is really easy to trash this movie, trust me. I can go on and on about this movie, but there are actually some really good things about it. First off, the pod race is actually a really entertaining scene. I have to give George Lucas a lot of credit. The direction is great, and the sound design is fantastic. If only they just didn't cut back to the announcer guy, then it would have been a lot better. Fan favorite Darth Maul is also introduced in this film, and he is very underused. He is a cool looking character, and the fight between him, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon is really entertaining as well. But I do kind of understand the complaints that the fights are a little bit too choreographed, but I can actually forgive them for that for this one in particular. At least in this scene, there's actually something interesting happening, and the Duel of the Fates theme from John Williams is one of the best themes in Star Wars. As for literally everything else in this finale, I just didn't care at all. Who cares about Padmé trying to get back to the throne room? Who cares about Anakin fumbling around in space? And why in the world did they keep on cutting back to Jar Jar fighting on an army of droids? So in the end, Anakin blows up what is pretty much this film's version of the Death Star. Qui-Gon dies, Darth Maul is defeated by Obi-Wan, and he eventually is able to train Anakin. There's one scene towards the tail end of the film where I actually think the film should have ended there. It is a conversation between Yoda and Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson. They're pretty much talking about whether Maul was the Sith apprentice or the Sith master. The camera then pans over to Senator Palpatine, who we know is Darth Sidious. And I think if it would have gone straight to credits there, I would have been a lot more intrigued to see where the series is going in the next film. But instead they cut to this over-the-top celebration scene, pretty much copying A New Hope, and it's just, why would they do that? The most surprising thing about this film to me is how outdated this film seems. The original Star Wars came out 22 years prior to this movie, however it looks so much better. This film relies so much on CGI that it really looks cartoony, and you can really tell when they're in these giant sets of green screen and blue screen rather than actual practical sets. Anyways guys, that's all I have to say about this movie. It really is one of the worst Star Wars films in the franchise, however it's not unwatchable. There are a few scenes that I actually really enjoy. I give Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, 4.5 Darth Mauls out of 10. Make sure you guys come back next week for my Attack of the Clones review. I'm going to be continuing this Star Wars series all the way up to December with The Last Jedi release. I'm also going to be starting another series later this week of reviewing DCEU movies, starting with Man of Steel. So if you guys are excited for that, make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys then.